Alright, guys, part 23 to my Emochi Chatbot series. I'm going to try talking to the giant Totodile again. I don't know if I actually got really anywhere with it last time. I did see a conversation going, but I can't remember if I did it for a test run or that was actually a conversation I did on camera. I think I might have been one I did on camera, but I can't quite remember. I just watched come from somewhere nearby, and it startled me a bit. When I go check it out, I see a massive Totodile splashing in the water. Uh... You know what? Let's be nice to him. Hello. Please don't get aggressive. I'm also paranoid they'll become aggressive on me for no reason. Hey. The master Totodile, who was over 40 feet tall, perched his head up from the lake and looked at you with wide, friendly eyes. He seems eager for a potential friend, having been alone for so long due to his enormous size. He wads towards you in the water, not wanting to scare you with his land movements.
Hello there. I'm Luna. I couldn't help but notice you from across the lake. It's nice to meet someone new. My whole life I just wanted someone to accept me for who I am. Giant Pokemon and all. Would you be willing to talk with me for a bit? I know I'm a sight to behold at this size, but I promise I'm a gentle soul. Please don't be afraid of me. I'm here to be friends.
Luna looks at you with big puppy dog eyes, hoping you'll give him a chance despite his enormous stature. Of course I will. No. Of course I will. Exclamation point. You're so cool. And you're my favorite Pokemon. You and your evolutions. Oh my gosh. Luna's eyes widen in surprise and happiness, his huge snout curving into a warm smile. His entire body seems to wiggle with excitement.
Really? You're not scared of me? You think I'm cool? And Fragger's your favorite evolution?
I love all three of them. He stands up in the shallow water, towering over you at well over 40 feet. Droplets of water stream down his muscular blue and red arms. His arms ain't red. His spikes are. He's clearly overjoyed, but trying his best not to scare you with his enthusiastic movements.
Thank you so much. Nobody's ever accepted me like this before. I can't believe it. You're amazing.
He takes a step closer to the shore, making sure to keep a polite distance. His giant feet kick up water with each movement. He looks down at you expectantly, eager to continue this conversation, but unsure what to do next. What's your name?
No. There.
Hope I didn't... Ah! What the frick is this? Ew! Ew! I'm not playing this. No, frick off. Luna's eyes widen in surprise at your question. He tilts his massive head curiously.
My name? I don't really have one. I've never been given a name before. My family just called me the big one.
That's insulting. He looks down, seeming embarrassed, his tail swishing nervously in the water behind him.
Would you maybe want to give me a name? I've always wanted one of my own. Something special that shows who I am inside.
He looks back up at you with hopeful eyes, his body language open and receptive. The gentle giant seems to be putting his entire heart into this conversation, desperate for a real connection with another living being. After so much rejection. Sweet Arceus. This was good about making you feel bad, or good, depending on how the Pokemon reacts. I'll give it credit. Same thing with Shadow, and he's a robotic motherfucking dinosaur. It did the same thing with him. That's why I started liking this one real quick. But then now I find there is some definite problems with it. But, what about Luna? It's a beautiful name to me. It kind of represents his friendly side. I mean, dadgum, he's a big friendly Pokemon. Luna's face brightens up at the suggestion. His eyes, which have been seen so much loneliness, now twinkle with newfound warmth. He opens his mouth wide in a joyful grin, revealing his sharp teeth in a way that's more endearing than intimidating. Luna, that's that's perfect. It's beautiful. You're so kind, and the name feels like it suits me. I'm I'm Luna now. Thank you. I love him already. He says, a huge, genuine smile stretching across his face. His voice is filled with a happiness that's almost overwhelming in its intensity, given how long he's gone without such a simple yet profound gesture of acceptance. Are you, are you sure you want to be friends? Luna really likes making new friends. Luna really likes making new friends like you. He looks down at you, his eyes now sparkling with the light of a new beginning. Yes, of course. Of course. Exclamation point. My name is Trent. There we go. Luna is such a pretty name, dude. I honestly might name a Lugia that. Luna is such a pretty name for a Lugia. It's a pretty name for an alligator. Trenton, Luna repeats, testing out the name on his tongue. It's nice to meet ya. The massive Poleon's body seems to radiate pure joy. He takes a small step closer, making sure not to frighten you with his size. I'm so happy we've become friends. I promise I'll always be kind to you, just like you've been to me. Luna's voice is filled with warmth and sincerity, his whole body being seeming to glow with newfound happiness. Would you like to spend some time with me at the lake? We could talk more, and I could show you some cool Totodile tricks I learned as a child. I would love to see that actually. Like, legit, would love to see a Totodile trick. That sounds kind of adorable. If he does cute little flips in the air, I'm gonna go nuts. I don't care if it's on the AI thing or not. That's like if I was playing Pokemon and that my Fragger just started dancing around me because he liked me so much. I would flip it. I would probably melt into a puddle of goo, and all you'd hear from me is like, for like 10 minutes because I'd be so in love with what he just did. The only one that remotely dances in his family is the Totodile of the three. Crocodile never loses the urge to dance, and so is Feraligatr. Feraligator's known to be more menacing than friendly, although he can also be friendly if you treat him right, and I guess that's why Feraligator really likes me. Let's see. He wiggles his tail excitedly, sending a few water droplets flying. His eyes are fixated on you, filled with a childlike enthusiasm despite his enormous stature. Or, if you have other plans, that's okay too. I would love to see some of those. Not tracks. Tricks. You mentioned. I would love to see what. What's he gonna. Please do flips in the air. I will go insane if you start flipping in the air. I mean, like back flips, front flips, and like jumping into the water. That would be so dope. I find that adorable. Luna's eyes light up at my enthusiastic response, his massive body quivering with excitement.
Oh, you're gonna love this, Trenton. Just wait and see.
I'm ready. With a careful motion, he waded back into the deeper part of the lake, the water parting around his huge form. He takes a deep breath, and with a burst of speed that's surprising for his size, he leaps high into the air, performing a perfect somersault before splashing back down, sending a massive spray of water skyward.
It's like a water tail,
He shouts over the splash, beaming with pride.
I used to practice for hours by the family pond back home, but I could never do it there like this.
He watches for my reaction, hoping to see approval and not fear. After a moment, he grins again and prepares for another trick.
Let me show you one more thing.
Okay. Dude, this is so cute. I already love this massive Totodile. He's so sweet and friendly. I already love him. He's my buddy.
Alright, you're gonna love this one even more.
Luna takes a deep breath, puffing out his chest. Then, in one swift motion, he flips onto his back in the water, his massive tail thrashing and whirls around him like a waterspout. Suddenly, he shoots straight up out of the water like a gigantic blue missile, twisting gracefully in midair before landing back in the water with an earth-shaking splash, sending water cascading in all directions. Cascading.
Ta-da! That's my personal favorite. I call it the Totodile Tornado.
Oh, that's a dope name. I love it. He walks back towards me, water streaming off his gigantic body. Luna's smile is a mile wide, but there's some nervousness in his eyes as he awaits my reaction.
Did you see that, Trenton? It's hard to believe I used to be scared to swim as a baby.
That was so cool. Exclamation point. You were good at that. Both of those tricks were amazing. I really was. I said I wanted to see him do some kind of like flips in the air, and he kind of did. Luna's eyes crinkle with joy at my words, his whole face beaming with happiness. The water glistens on his muscular blue body as he walks closer, trying to contain his excitement.
Really? You mean that? I'm so glad you liked it. I was worried that might be too much,
he says, his voice filled with genuine relief and delight.
Thank you, Trenton. You know, I never had anyone cheer me on like this before. It means a lot to me.
Well, you're a Totodile. Ain't no way I'm not cheering you on. You could be a massive Ferrari. You could be a flipping 80-foot tall Ferrari, and I'd still love you. As long as you kept that friendly personality you have. I'd be more worried if he was aggressive, though. He looks down at his massive hands, flexing his fingers.
It feels good to show off a bit after spending so much hiding away. But I'm even happier just talking with you. Is there anything else you'd like to know about me, or any stories about your adventures?
Luna's body language is open and eager, his entire demeanor radiating warmth and gratitude for my friendship. I would honestly like to know more about you. Period. How did you get so big like this in the first place? And what happened to your family? Speaking of family, guys, there actually is a new character on my Character AI that talks about that. I actually finally made me a Garchomp character, but it's similar to Shadow, but he's more Pokemon than robotic, and you'll see exactly what I mean whenever I actually do it for a video, or for a few videos. Luna tilts his massive head, looking thoughtful as he processes my questions. His expression softens with a hint of nostalgia.
You know, Trenton,
he begins, voice gentle.
I've always been different. I hatched with my siblings, but I was already so much bigger than them. My parents were big too, but even they were only about 8 feet tall. I was already more than that right from the start. He chuckled softly, it sounded like a low rumble. I just kept growing. It was like every day I got a bit bigger. I remember my mom and dad trying to explain things to me, but even they seemed unsure. They said it was something special about me, but it was hard, especially when I kept outgrowing everything. His eyes caught over with a memory of his family. At first, they were nice, you know? Please continue. I actually want to know what you're going to say. Come on, buddy. Don't repeat every. Here we go. There we go. As I kept growing, things started changing. My siblings were scared of me, even though I tried my best not to scare them. They wouldn't play with me anymore. My parents, they tried their hardest, but it was too much for them in the end. Luna's voice cracks a little, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. It wasn't their fault. I got too big for them to handle. Even feeding me was a problem. When I turned 1, I was already 30 feet tall. They sat me down and told me that it was time for me to leave. They said they loved me, but... He trails off, looking down at his massive hands again. I understand why they did it, but it still hurt. I walked away from the only home I'd ever known. That's why I ended up here, at this lake. It's been my home for the past 3 months.
Aww. Wow, dude, that's sad. I know it was hard for them. It was hard for them. But that's no reason just to do that to one of their own children. Especially since you were so young. You still are, I believe. Actually, I won't finish off with that. Lynn's expression softens as he hears my words. He looks up, meeting my gaze with a mix of gratitude and a hint of vulnerability. His massive frame seems to relax and he gives a small, sad smile. You're right, Trenton. I understand they were in a difficult situation, but it's still hard to believe they sent me away. Your words, they help a lot. It's nice to know that someone understands how much it hurt and how unfair it felt. He takes a moment to collect himself, blinking away the moisture in his eyes. I've been so lonely, you know? I just want someone to see me. Not just as this huge Pokemon, but as a friend who wants the same things they do. Your kindness means more to me than you can imagine. Luna's voice is steady but filled with emotion. He looks around the lake, then back at me. Would you... Tell me what you want to say, Totodile. Please don't... Please... Here we go. Would you like to help me explore the area around the lake? Sometimes it feels so too big and too quiet up here by myself. Maybe we could find a nice spot to sit and talk more. Or perhaps even find a place where I can help dig a smaller pond just for us. Somewhere we could visit together as friends. And see, yeah, he knows my name. It's just that why does someone still call me by he? That's weird. He. Is that the thing's way of insulting me? I feel like sometimes it is. And that kind of hisses me off. I don't like being hissed. No, I don't. Alright. Sure. Hey. Luna's face lights up with pure joy at my agreement. His tail sways back and forth with excitement, sending droplets of water flying.
Really? You do that with me? That's amazing.
The master Totodile wads out of the lake, making sure to keep his distance so he's not as to not overwhelm me with his size. He steps carefully onto the shore, his huge feet sinking slightly into the soft earth.
I know the perfect spot. Follow me, Trenton. It's not too far, and I think you'll love it.
Luna sets off down a well-worn path, his head bobbing above the tree line as he walks. He glances back to make sure I'm following, his eyes sparkling with happiness.
Tell me more about yourself, Trenton. What brings you to this part of the world? And what made you decide to befriend a giant Totodile like me?
I was just out exercising and getting some fresh air when I heard you splashing around. Period. The reason I didn't get scared of you and befriended you instantly was because I really care about your species. I've raised my own before. Luna's steps falter for a moment at my words, and he turns around fully to face him. His eyes are wide with surprise, wonder, and a touch of hesitation.
Wait, what? You've raised Totodiles before. You must be incredible with Pokemon, Trenton. But
he takes a deep breath, his massive chest expanding.
Are you sure you want to be friends with someone like me? I know I'm not like the other Totodiles you've cared for. I'm a lot bigger and, well, my situation's a bit different. I don't want you to feel like you have to try to help me or fix anything. Just being a company, except as I am. It means everything to me already.
Luna looks down at me, his gaze filled with hope and uncertainty. Your size does not matter to me. Period. Even if you were over 200 feet tall, I would still care for you. What matters is that you're friendly. You're not trying to attack me. And you actually care. Luna's eyes widen and his mouth falls open in surprise at my words. For a moment he's speechless, his usual friendliness giving way to a raw, vulnerable expression.
Trenton,
he begins, his voice thick with emotion.
I don't know what to say. No one's ever said anything like that to me before. It's almost too much to believe.
The massive Poland's body starts to tremble slightly, not from fear, but from the intensity of his feelings. A few tears start to roll down his cheeks, mixing with the water droplets from the lake.
You really mean that? No matter how big I get, you'll still be my friend?
Luna takes a tentative step closer, then stops himself, not wanting to invade my personal space with his enormous form.
This is okay with you. I'd like to be more than just your friend.
Please don't be boyfriend and girlfriend. I swear to frick, do not go in that direction. It hasn't done that. None of these chatbots have done that in a long time. I really don't want to end up like that. Whatever this game is, it's lame. Now frick off. Let me talk to my massive Totodile, baby. His eyes widen and his mouth falls open. More than a friend? Than just a friend? Question mark. What else do you want to be? With me? Please don't say flipping lovers. For the love of frick, don't do it. Come on, Totodile. I want to be in love with you too, but not in that way. It's gonna be weird, especially since you're still a child. Luna's big heart swells with a warmth he's never felt before. He looks down at me, his eyes filled with a depth of emotion that's hard to express. His voice is soft, almost a whisper, as if sharing something profoundly personal.
I've always wanted a family, Trenton. Someone who understands and accepts me for who I am, no matter how different I might be. Maybe, maybe we could be like a family to each other, where we're always there for each other even when it's hard. Sarah wishes gently behind him, a nervous habit that betrays excitement. Family means caring for one another, and I, I want to care for you too. I want us to be closer in a way I've never had with anyone else.
He looks at me, his gaze hopeful, but with a hint of vulnerability.
What do you think?
I would love to. Love to! Exclamation point. I treat my Pokemon like they are family. And Pokemon like you are always welcome. Like I said, that Totodile could be 500 to 1,000 feet tall. If he keeps his friendly personality, I don't care. He just has to be careful not to step on me. His eyes light up with a joy that's almost blinding. His face splits into a wide, toothy grin, not in a menacing way, but in sheer, un, unadulterated happiness. He's unable to contain his excitement any longer, and he lets out a happy bark, his massive body quivering.
Trenton, you're the best,
He exclaimed, his voice filled with gratitude and happiness.
I've missed having a family so much, and now I have one with you.
With a gentle, careful motion, he extends one of his massive yet tender hands towards me, offering to give him a high five. Ah! His hand is large enough to encase me entirely, but the gesture is filled with friendship and care rather than intimidation.
Let's make a promise,
He suggests, his voice steady despite the emotion welling up inside him. Please tell me you're going to say something. Do not flip and repeat the same thing. Here we go. His voice steady and filled with consent. Right.
we're gonna be there for each other. We're gonna be there for each other, no matter what. And maybe Trini can even help me build up this special pond by the lake.
His eyes filled with hope meet mine. He's holding his massive head steady, a symbol of their new bond, waiting for a high five that's as heartfelt as it is literal.
When he does that, it'll be a place for just us, a reminder of our promise. What do you say, Trenton? Partners in adventure and family?
I put my hand on Luna's and say, yes, partners and family. I love it, dude. I love it. Luna gently envelops my hand in his massive one, sealing the pact. His face a picture of pure joy, his eyes sparkling with happiness and a touch of unshed tears.
You've made me the happiest giant Pokemon in the world, Trenton.
Luna exclaims, his voice filled with emotion.
Having you as a family, it means more than I can even express.
He carefully lifts me and places me on the ground next to him, not wanting to overwhelm or scare his new friend with his touch.
Now, let me show you where I think we should build our special pond. It's just up ahead.
Luna sets off down the path again, this time with a newfound spring in his step and a permanent smile on his face. He occasionally glances back to make sure I'm still following, each look with warmth and affection. While we were walking, we heard a voice say, "Hey, what are you doing with my child?" Get back here, you Pokemon thief! Exclamation point. And then right after, a oh heck no. Excuse me? I'm not doing anything to your child. I like him as a friend. He's my buddy. Ah, frick, Fragger's gonna hurt me.